Yo, what's good, Raider Nation? Anybody in the building, man? Make sure to comment down below. Um, Give me 1 second here. Supposed to play this intro video, but cannot.
Jacobs is on his way. The Raiders are going to win this game.
Let's go. Let's go.
Then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Yo, what is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Raider Alex back with yet another video for you guys. Live streaming this first live stream of the channel, man. Hey, shout out. We already got some people commenting down below. Hey, shout out to Mark Salter, man. What's good with you? Hey, shout out to the Raider Critique, man. Hey, man, salute to you, former content creator as well. For anybody that hasn't subscribed to this channel, man, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Shout out to Stephen Williams, man. Hey, Raider Nation for life. That's what's up. Hey, Dominique 5, man. Good to see you, man. One of the OG subscribers to the channel, man. What's up, Alex? What's good, man? How's everybody doing, man? Alex Martin, Raider fan. Hey, salute, Raider Alex. Good to see you going live. Yep. And actually, with that being said, man, before I even get too deep in this, can you guys hear me good? Put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear the audio and everything like that. Raiders first. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, everybody can hear. That's good. That's good. Chronicles of the Black Hole. I'm here to start shit. Shout out to OG, man. Good to see you in the building. That's funny. All right, we got ones in the chat. Okay, sounds good, man. Without further ado, as you guys know from the thumbnail and the title of the video, the Raiders schedule came out on Thursday. So I just wanted to touch on the schedule, my thoughts and opinions. I'm going to give you guys a record prediction as well. But with that being said, let me add this. Can you guys see the little PowerPoint that I just pulled up? Said new to your channel, but love my Raiders. Thanks for the content, my friend. Hey, it's my pleasure, man. Thank you for pulling up. But yeah, man, let's talk about this schedule right here. So, I mean, I will say this 2023 NFL schedule, it's a little bit difficult. I mean, especially I would say like let's say the first 6 to 7 weeks is a little bit tough. I think I saw on Instagram that the Raiders had, in terms of the strength of the schedule, I think we had the 10th toughest schedule in the National Football League. Just in general, for that, they just take into consideration, the teams were playing and their record from last season, based on their winning percentage. So 10th, it's a little bit up there, but at the same time, I'm not super surprised. We are in the AFC West with the Kansas City Chiefs, and just typically the AFC West, I mean, typically there's always like 1 or 2 teams in the playoffs. So let's jump to the next slide. And one thing I will just quickly let's touch on is when we're going to face our divisional rivals. So it looks like week 1, we're going to be on the road against the Denver Broncos on September 10th. After that, week 4, we're going to be on the road at the LA Chargers on October 1st. Week 12, home against Kansas City Chiefs. After that, we're going to be at Allegiant Stadium once again against the LA Chargers. After that, week 16 at Arrowhead Stadium on Christmas Day as well. And last but not least, we're going to face the Denver Broncos in week 18 of the regular season. The one thing I will say is it's a little bit interesting that we're facing the Broncos week 1, and then after that we're gonna face them week 18. So it's like basically you're facing two completely different teams. The Denver Broncos and the Raiders of week 1 will not be the same. Um, we're not going to be the same teams towards the end of the season. And at the same time, I mean, the last game could be a lot of playoff implications on the line as well. So Dominique Five says, realistically, I see 8 to 9 wins. Just being honest, hey man, I do not blame you. And well, at the end, you guys will see what my win prediction is. But to be honest, I mean, 8 and 9 is not it's really not that bad. That's a 2 game improvement from last season. And just depending on how we do in our divisional matchups and our conference matchups, I mean, that could be, you could sneak into the wild card. So, hey, it's not terrible. Chronicles of the Black Hole. We sweep the donkeys once again. Hey man, let's talk about that actually. Let's talk about that. And also just real quick, the primetime matchups we have this season. I was a little bit surprised. I mean, the Raiders, look, on paper, the Raiders are, let's be honest, there's definitely some question marks on this team. I think I saw that Las Vegas, they have us projected at 7.5 wins. So, but at the end of the day, I mean, the Raiders are in a great market in Las Vegas, and there's a shit ton of Raiders fans. So I'm not super surprised that we got a total of 5 primetime matchups versus home against the Steelers. After that, we're going to go Monday Night Football at Allegiant Stadium once again against the Packers. After that, on the road against the Detroit Lions, week 8. And then week 10, this one's going to be definitely an interesting matchup. Sunday Night Football against the New York Jets. We're going to face Aaron Rodgers, the guy who a lot of people wanted to come to the Raiders, but unfortunately, we did not see that happen. And week 15, home against the LA Chargers on Thursday Night Football. Says split with the Chargers and get killed by the Queefs. Hey man, let's I hope that does not happen, but we will just have to see. Herminia Marmolejo, nice to see you live. Hey, thank you for pulling up to the show. But yeah, so week 1 on the road against Denver Broncos. So the season opener is on the road, a divisional matchup again, just like it was last season, but with the LA Chargers. The one thing I will say is, the Raiders have dominated the Broncos in the past 3 seasons. We were 6-0 against the Broncos, 3 straight seasons. We were able to sweep them. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Raiders have not lost to the Broncos ever since we were the Oakland Raiders. So, that is something that, maybe gives you confidence as a Raiders fan that we're going to go ahead and beat the Denver Broncos. But I will say the one thing that kind of concerns me about that is that, at least from a psychological standpoint, you would think that probably the Broncos got a little bit of an edge because, at a certain point, man, you, especially losing to a divisional rival, at a certain point, man, you just you kind of gotta get sick of it, At some point, I mean, they're gonna have to win. And the last thing I think we should consider about week 1 against the Broncos is the fact that the Denver Broncos, they got Jarrett Stidham now. And why do I bring up the fact that they got Jarrett Stidham? Well, the reason I want to just touch on this is because, yeah, Jarrett Stidham's not going to be playing unless Russell Wilson gets injured or whatever the case may be. But Jarrett Stidham is a guy who, me personally, I definitely wanted us to bring back Jarrett Stidham. Unfortunately, they were unable to do so. Josh McDaniels and his regime basically felt like I think he got paid 2 years, 12 million. So basically, they felt that $6 million was a little bit too steep to pay for a backup quarterback. Instead, they got their guy in Aiden O'Connell. But one thing to keep in mind is Jarrett Stidham. He knows the Josh McDaniels offense, the Raiders offense inside and out. Not only that, I mean, you got the Broncos got the whole offseason to prepare for week 1, which you got to take it week by week. So I think Jarrett Stidham, unfortunately for the Raiders, could be a bit of he could hurt us in that aspect because he knows his offense so well. So I feel like their game plan could be pretty good going into week 1. But at the same time, I mean, Josh McDaniels does have a full offseason to kind of keep this in consideration and kind of switch things up. But I mean, with this being said, I got us losing the first game of the season against the Denver Broncos. I got us starting off this season 0-1, just like we did last season. Donkeys have a new coach, a new system. They ain't winning this year. Hey, I mean, you're probably right. I mean, I don't know what the Broncos are going to end up doing in terms of, I doubt they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, I will say Sean Payton is a really good offensive-minded coach. But I don't know, man. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, Russell Wilson definitely struggled vitally last season under Sean Payton. I mean, it is going to be interesting to see, but I think week 1 we're going to lose right here. And week 2, I mean, the schedule does not really get much easier for the Raiders starting off. It's a pretty tough schedule to start off with. We're going to go week 2 on the road once again, back-to-back road games against the Buffalo Bills. So when it comes to the Bills, I mean, what can I say? They're a really tough opponent. They got Josh Allen, just one of the best quarterbacks in the whole National Football League on the road. I mean, this is very early on. This is going to be the first test for this Raiders defense that there's got a lot of question marks at the defense, especially at the linebacker spot. And I will say, I mean, this defense it's young. It's young in the fact that we've invested a lot of young talent and rookies. But what I will say about this game is the fact that if you're going to beat a team like the Buffalo Bills, a team that's projected to be a Super Bowl contender, if you're going to do it, very likely it's going to be very early in the season, which we end up facing them week 2. So there is a chance of an upset just because the Bills might not go come into this game at full strength in terms of of being in rhythm and all that. And also, I'd much rather face the Bills in Buffalo, in early September compared to late November and December, where I mean, shit, it could be snowing, it could be freezing, and at that point, I mean, we're definitely not gonna win if it's later in the season. But I will say, I mean, I think this game is going to be close. I think it's going to be close. I think the Raiders, we are going to lose. We're going to go 0-2 to start the season. So statistically, too, you look at it, teams that start 0-2 generally don't make the playoffs. But I will say, I mean, it's going to be a close game, but there is a chance that we could maybe upset the Buffalo Bills. Jorge C says, "What's good, Alex? Salute. Hey, salute to you, my guy. Thank you for pulling up to the live stream." OG says, "At the Bills, we're probably not going to win that one." Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think we could potentially surprise some people. I think it's going to be a close game, but well, we'll just have to see. Oscar says, "Best case scenario, 8-9, eyes purple crying." I mean, hey man, as I said to Dominique before, I mean, 8-9, it is not terrible. That's 2 games improvement compared to last season, and just the way the schedule goes, the way we finish in our division, the way we face the AFC conference opponents. I mean, you could potentially sneak into that wild card. So you never really know. The Raider critique, what's up, my fan? What's good? What's good? And now week 3, we're going to play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It'll be the 2023 home opener on primetime football, Sunday night football. Me personally, I'm not gonna lie, I do not like playing on Sunday night football. I mean, let me know what you guys think down below about Sunday night football. I mean, I understand. I mean, it is pretty cool that we're gonna face, I guess, to open up an Allegiant Stadium on primetime football. Technically like the game of the week, Sunday night football. But another thing to keep in mind, I mean, it could potentially be a revenge game. um, Two historic franchises, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Raiders. I mean, there's always been bad blood between us. And last season, man, I mean that one definitely hurt. I think it was on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. I can't remember, but I definitely wanted us to win that game. The Raiders, we had to win that game if we wanted, to keep our playoff hopes alive. Unfortunately, we were unable to win that game, which maybe the Raiders could use that as fuel. But at this point in the season, I got us at 0-2. You gotta start strong at home as well. I think the Raiders, they win this game at this point will be 1-2 in the season. And you also too. I mean, Josh McDaniels, this team, they do not want to go 0-3 in back-to-back years. So I think we win this game. And the next week, another divisional rival on the road. So I will say we got two divisional matchups in the first month of the season. And I have us losing to the Broncos week 1. So you're gonna have to, you don't want to go 0-2 in the division as well. And we're technically on the road, but let's be honest, Los Angeles belongs to the Raiders. So this should be, a good home field advantage for the Raiders. At this point, I would have it like as a must-win game. And this is a game too. I mean, I'm not too far from Los Angeles, so this is definitely a game that I would definitely consider potentially game. And also too, I mean, I think we have not beat the Chargers in their stadium with their home fans as of yet. But I think the first year we beat them, but it was that COVID year, so there was no fans in the building, and it's a much different vibe, man. I definitely want us to win this game. With all this being said, I think the Raiders win this game. So we start off the season with back-to-back losses, but I think the Raiders kind of bounce back a little bit. Us as a fan base, we can kind of breathe a little bit. We win back-to-back games, and at this point, we go 2-2. OG says, can't call this one, but most years we whip their asses early in the season. Are you talking about the Chargers, or because I mean, because yeah, no, last season we lost to them week 1, and after that we also lost to them when they had that whole lightning situation. But I don't know, man. I hope we can beat those motherfuckers. Bro, the Chargers don't have fans. This is facts, my guy. This is facts. Oh no, Steelers, dude. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've actually done pretty well against the Steelers the past. I mean, we don't face them a whole lot, but last season was the time we lost them. But even when the Raiders were really bad, when we were 4-12, when we got Terrell Pryor out there, I mean, we typically match up pretty well against the Steelers. I think we'll match up well this season too. So at this point, I got the Raiders 2-2. Week 5, we're gonna be playing on primetime football once again. Monday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers. Or this game is definitely interesting. I definitely want to get your guys' opinion on what do you guys think the Packers are going to be next season. They're basically like in a rebuild stage, pretty similar to the Raiders. I mean, they both got new quarterbacks. Also, too, I mean, it's really weird seeing. It's going to be really weird seeing the Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers, because the guy's been the quarterback for the Packers, a starting quarterback since like 2009 or something like that. So basically, ever since I've watched football, I've seen Aaron Rodgers in the green and yellow jersey. But I will say Jordan Love, I mean, he's had a lot of time to sit behind Aaron Rodgers, learn that offense. So At this point, man, it's a little bit of a tough matchup to call at this point, but I think the Raiders. I think we're going to continue our streak winning in primetime matchups at Allegiant Stadium. So at this point, I think we're going to win this game. So the Raiders, we start off 0-2. We're probably, as a fan base, all pissed off, freaked out. And I think after that, we bounce back a little bit. We win three straight. At this point, we'll be 3-2. Packers are going to be you're going to be sacrificial lambs to the NFL. That's funny. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just in general, they got a really young team. They got the new quarterback. They also got the wide receivers and all that. But I think we should win this game. Now, this week, this one is definitely another interesting matchup. I really hope we win this game, but let's talk about it. Against the New England Patriots. As soon as we're playing them at Allegiant Stadium, pretty just like last season, where we got that Chandler Jones walk off. I mean, that was just a crazy game, just a crazy ending in general. I will say though, we did get a little bit lucky in that. I mean, not even a little. We got lucky on that one. I mean, you never see plays like that happen, and we got that walk off touchdown pass from Chandler Jones. And just in general, this is going to be an interesting matchup, I feel like, just because. So once again, it's going to be the apprentice, our head coach, Josh McDaniels, facing the master in head coach Bill Belichick. Now, I will say, I mean, McDaniels got the best of him last season. He got that victory, but it was, like I said, it was a little bit of a lucky victory. And just in general, you look at this game, I mean, there's a shit ton of familiarity from both sides. Of course, we got Josh McDaniels, our head coach, who was with the Patriots for, like a decade at this point. We also went out and got Jacoby Myers, a guy who, I will say, wide receiver for us, I felt like it was a need, but it was like way low on the pecking order, I feel like. So, but we went ahead and spent big money on Jacoby Myers, former Patriots wide receiver. So, there's a lot of familiarity from both sides. The Raiders have a lot of ties to the Patriots, but at the same time, hopefully our starting quarterback by then, hopefully, knock on wood, hopefully he doesn't get injured or anything like that. But Jimmy Garoppolo, Bill Belichick is a defensive mastermind, so maybe he is going to have an edge against Jimmy G at that point. One thing, I wish I would have looked this up before, but I don't know if there's what's the statistics on Bill Belichick against Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think they faced each other very many times, but man, with this being said, I mean, I don't think Bill Belichick allows Josh McDaniels to beat him in back-to-back years. I hope I'm wrong, man. I really do. I hate the Patriots, but I think we're gonna go take an L right here. The Raider critique. Glad I got mine done before you started yours, bro. Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, thanks for pulling up. Chronicles of the Black Hole. Jacoby Myers helped us beat the idiots last year. Oh yeah, that's true. He's the one that fucking threw that pass to. I don't know what he was trying to do. He was trying to throw it to Mac Jones. I don't know why. He's the most unathletic guy on that entire field. But hey, man, thank you for thank you for that victory. Now you're part of the silver and black. Oh shit, that's not good. Not sure exactly what you're referring to. I assume the Jimmy Garoppolo thing I was talking about, but we'll just have to see. Gonna be at the Pats game with the fam. I think McDork can win this one. Hey man, I hope so. Man, that would be pretty impressive. Like I said, beating your master Bill Belichick in back-to-back years, man. I would love it, man. I would love it. the pass to Jones. I mean, I don't think he'll make another mistake like that. Um, I mean, I don't even know why he was trying to. I mean, just take that thing to overtime and just take your chances there. But so at this point, week 6 into the regular season, I got us at 3 wins, 3 losses, and on this one, we're going to be on the road against the Chicago Bears. And I will say, I mean, this one is a good test as well for this defense against a really good mobile quarterback in Justin Fields. And he's a tough guy to prepare for too. I mean, this guy, I mean, there's a lot of mobile quarterbacks, but this guy really takes it to another level. He's not quite like I would say Lamar Jackson, but I mean, I think the guy had 1,100 rushing yards last season alone as a quarterback, which is absolutely mind blowing. A lot of running backs, maybe get 1,100 yards or they get less than that. But this guy he was a real force against the run. So that's something the Raiders are definitely gonna have to pay attention to. It'll be a good little test for us. I will say, I think this defense. Yeah, we did get a lot younger, but I will say what I like about it, it seems like we got a lot more athletic on the defense. Guys that are versatile with speed that can play in the slot at the cornerback position, the secondary as well. I know there is a lot, the safeties that we drafted as well are pretty good against the run. So but I don't know. This is kind of a tough one to predict as well. And I'm not gonna lie on this prediction one. I mean, I try to be as unbiased as possible. So when I'm kind of like iffy, kind of like a toss up in the air at this point, I think we're gonna lose against the Chicago Bears. At this point of the season, would be 3-4. And after that, I mean, it does not get any easier for the Raiders. We're going to be on the road, another primetime game on Monday Night Football against the Detroit Lions. And look, Detroit is a team on the rise. I mean, I like the vision and direction that the Detroit Lions are headed in. I think I think they snuck into the wild card last year in the NFC, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. But I know they beat the Packers in that crucial game to knock them out of the playoffs. But I mean, with this being said, on the road, I mean, I think it's going to be tough for the Raiders. You know, I, at this point, I think we're going to lose on the road against the Detroit Lions. The Bears are useless. If we don't win, our boys are eating their crayons. I mean, who knows, man? Who knows? That's the thing too. I mean, I think the Bears had a pretty decent draft. I mean, I like their first round selection in what's the guy's name? Darnell Wright. I did like that selection, but we'll just see. At this point, I think we take an L. Back-to-back losses. So at this point, we'll be 3-5 in the regular season. So let's just jump to week 9 of the regular season. And this game, we're going to be at home against in Allegiant Stadium against a playoff team from last year. The New York Giants made the playoffs last year. I think they made a good decision in hiring their coach last season. It seems like they're going in the right direction as well. And basically the biggest storyline of this game is going to be the return of Darren Waller, a guy who not too long ago we just ended up trading him to the New York Giants, basically in exchange for slot wide receiver that we drafted in the 3rd round and Trey Tucker. So I think of course, Darren Waller, he's going to want to ball out this game. He's going to, try to think that he's going to try to prove the Raiders wrong in a sense. He's going to try to, make us look bad, make us he's going to try to have a great game against us. At the same time, the Raiders are going to do their best to limit this guy. But at the same time, I will say that is if Darren Waller stays healthy. I'm not trying to hate on the guy or anything, but let's be honest, the last 2 seasons he has not been able to stay on the field. And to be quite honest with you, that's one of the main reasons why we ended up trading Darren Waller. At this point, I think the Raiders will do a pretty decent job containing Darren Waller. And, I don't see the Raiders losing this game. I think we definitely win this game. At this point, would be 4-5 into the regular seasons. The Lions are eating kneecaps. I actually worry about this game. Yeah, I think you're talking about their coach, that little speech he gave in the I think it was last year or whatever. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think the Lions are gonna be a good team next season. They're a team on the rise as well. I think they're headed in the right direction. I will say I did not like their draft picks, at least in the first round. I thought they definitely reached on both of those. I think number 12 they took the running back from Alabama, which I mean I'm not a huge fan of taking running backs in the first round, especially that early. And then also too they selected the linebacker Jack Campbell at number 18. So, which I was pretty surprised. I mean, Jack Campbell, I did like him. He's a prototypical linebacker. You know, I would have definitely been intrigued to draft him, but not that early, man. But I do think the Lions are a team to that could be pretty good next season. Jorge says, question: why does everyone think the Lions are going to be good this year? Basically that's why I think they're headed in the right direction. That's mainly why I think the Detroit Lions are going to be pretty good next season. I like the direction they're headed in and their head coach, and they did pretty solid last season. But you never really truly know in the National Football League. Waller won't be available by this time. I mean, yeah, you could be right. I mean, week 9, you're getting about 2 weeks into the regular season. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Okay. And now we jump into week 10 of the regular season. At this point, I got the Raiders at 4-5. This one is definitely going to be an interesting matchup to keep into consideration. The Raiders are going to face Aaron Rodgers, and this one is going to be another primetime game on Sunday Night Football. So I will say, I mean, I think this is a good test for this offense in general because the Jets, just in general, on paper, defense and offense, they have a pretty good roster from the top down. And this is going to be a really good test for this defense. They got Quinnen Williams on that defensive line. They got Sauce Gardner. Their defense is very good. Really, their defense has been the reason why they've been close to making the playoffs the past couple years. Really, they've been missing that. The thing they've been missing the most is a competent quarterback, and they were able to land Aaron Rodgers. And of course, I guess the storyline of this game is going to be the fact that the two teams that had the most legitimate shots to get Aaron Rodgers was the Las Vegas Raiders and the New York Jets. So, that's going to be something they're going to keep into consideration, kind of hype that up. But at the same, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers, his main how would I say this? I don't know if his main preference was to come to the Las Vegas Raiders to join forces with Devontae Adams, a guy who he has that instant connection with. I don't know if that was his primary destination that he wanted to come to, and maybe the Raiders chose to go in a different direction. Um, the Raiders are kind of focusing. It feels like they're focusing more towards the future. I think if we would have traded for Aaron Rodgers, that would have been more of a win now type of move. So I don't know, man. It's a tough matchup. Sunday Night Football. Uh, uh, I mean, it's tough. I mean, the quarterback was the missing piece for the New York Jets, and I think Aaron Rodgers. At the same time, I don't know how good he's going to be next season. The guy's getting up there in age, but I think it's a tough matchup, especially on paper. The Jets have a much better roster than the Raiders, so I think we're going to lose this game. I don't like this game. The Jets are going to be good. I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, on paper, they're definitely a good team, but I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if I don't know if they're going to be a team that's an automatic lock to make the playoffs. I mean, they're gonna be right there for sure. They're going to be contending for the playoffs, but I don't know. It's really just going to depend on Aaron Rodgers. The weapons they have on offense. They aren't the best, but at the same time, Aaron Rodgers, if he can just be a decent game manager for them, I mean, they should have pretty good success next season. So, we'll see. And the next matchup, I got Week 11 on the road once again against the Miami Dolphins. And really, this game is going to be, it might be a game I consider going to just because it'd be a perfect excuse to head out to Miami. But we'll just have to see on that. And I mean, the one thing about Miami, so it is going to be an East Coast game, those 10 a.m. Pacific games, which historically, I mean, the Raiders have not done very well in these games. Let's just call it what it is. It's going to be Miami seems like they're going to be a good team as well. And really the thing that concerns me the most with Miami is the fact that their skill positions, man, they're tough to match up with. They got Tyreek Hill, who's the main threat on that team, and they also got Jaden Waddle. It's going to be tough for us to match up with the speed of Tyreek Hill. But I will say, the Raiders did do a good job of adding speed to this defensive back room, and this could be a really good test for our rookie cornerback Jacorian Bennett, who that was one of his biggest strengths coming into the NFL draft was his speed. So, it might be a game that you try to match up Jacorian Bennett with Tyreek Hill. Now, he's not going to go, press man to man all by himself. We're definitely going to put some help over the top with the safeties and all that. But, it'll be interesting to see this game. With all this being said, man, I think this is a game. I think we're going to win this game. So, with us winning this game at this point, I would have us at 5-6. And we jump into the next week. And this one, we are going to play against the Kansas City Chiefs. And, not much to say about, the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, what can I say? They're the defending Super Bowl champs. They got Andy Reid. They got Travis Kelce. They got Patrick Mahomes. I mean, their offense is just so difficult to stop. And, what really surprised me is I did not expect these guys to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I thought they're still going to be make the playoffs for sure, even with the absence of such a dynamic playmaker and Tyreek Hill. But I will say, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, it's gonna be a tough game to win. And also Patrick Mahomes at Allegiant Stadium, he's undefeated. You look at the stats of him playing at Allegiant Stadium is just absolutely the guy has torn us apart. But I will say the one thing I really want to come out of the season with is I do not want to get swept by the Kansas City Chiefs. That is the one thing I just hope does not happen. And I think it's going to be important for Josh McDaniels and this coaching staff. If they want to do something in the future, man, they're going to have to. Last season, we did good, at least in the first game. The last game, it was a complete blowout. I want to forget about that one. But the first game at Arrowhead Stadium, look, the Raiders, they should have won that. They should have really won that game. They did a good job competing against the Chiefs, and I think they did a good job showing that they can go toe to toe with Kansas City. But I think this year, I mean, you're gonna have to win one of these games, just point blank. Period. I think at this point, if you want to sell the winning culture to this team, I think you're gonna have to find a way to not only compete with these guys, but show this team, show this locker room that look, we can beat the Chiefs on any given Sunday. So now, with all this being said, though, you would think I'm going to say that we're going to get a victory right here. I don't know. I think it's going to be tough. I think we're going to take an L right here, but hey, I will say, I mean, we just got to win one of these games. I hope we don't get swept. At that point, that'd be 3 straight years that we get swept by the Chiefs. So I would really not like that at all. But let's jump into the next week. And at this point, week 13 is the bye week for the Las Vegas Raiders. And I will say that the bye week this year is I don't love from a team standpoint, I don't love that the bye week is so late into the season because I mean, what, week 13, you're basically like 3 months into the so what, that's gonna be like December or something like that. Man, that's a long time to wait for the bye week. So I will say as a fan, I do like the fact that I don't like watching the bye week, man, because the Raiders aren't playing, man. It's usually pretty boring. So I guess that's cool from a fan standpoint. But from a team standpoint, I don't like that it's so late into the season. And very likely at this point, we're gonna have players banged up. Is gonna be a much needed rest for this team at this point. So I don't love that point. But at this portion of the season, week 13, this could be really the turning point for the Raiders because at this point, through 12 games, I have us at 5-7. And look, 5-7 right there. I mean, I think you're still gonna be in the hunt to potentially, a wild card spot in the AFC conference. And heading into the bye week, you fix a couple things, you make any adjustments necessary, and 5-7. I mean, if you can come out of that bye week strong, you might have a good shot to make the playoffs at that point. My guy Alex Martin says, "I'm tired of losing to the Chiefs." Exactly, man. I hear you on that one. I am the exact same way. That's why not only am I just tired as a fan of losing to these guys, but I think it's going to be crucial for this team moving forward. I mean, we have to build that confidence to basically say, you know what, we can't just compete against the best. We can actually beat the best, and it starts with the Chiefs, man. We have to. The division goes through the Kansas City Chiefs, so we're gonna have to find a way to do much better against them. So with this being said, we're 5-7 coming off the bye week. We're gonna play an NFC opponent in the Minnesota Vikings. So this game, I mean, I will say the biggest concern for me is our defense. It's going to be, I see a big mismatch nightmare when it comes to wide receiver Justin Jefferson. That guy is just absolutely phenomenal. And just in general, it's going to be a good test for the secondary. Um, the Vikings are another team that did really good last season, but uh, they ended up losing in the first round. So overall, a disappointing season from them. But Kirk Cousins, I mean, he's a quarterback that he's not the best, but the guy's a gunslinger. But I think this game, coming off the bye week, I would like for us to win this game, but I think we're going to lose this game. And just in general, I will say, when it comes to this season, I think in an ideal world, if you're going to lose a game, I mean, obviously it's you never want to lose in the National Football League. You want to win as much games as possible. But at the same time, what I will say is, if you are going to lose against a team, I'd rather lose against an NFC team than an AFC team, and most importantly, an AFC West team, because going late into the season, when it comes to tiebreakers, that really is a big factor going into the late in the season. Compared to the NFC, I mean, that's you're never gonna have a tiebreaker issue with those NFC teams. But right here, I have us taking a loss right here. Hey, shout out to Jack Hanna in the building, at Alex and Critique. Salute, brothers. Hey, salute to you, man. Thank you for pulling up on the show. And after that, we're going to face the Los Angeles Chargers once again. So this one's going to be a short week. The Raiders are really going to have to bounce back from this loss very quickly on Thursday Night Football against a divisional rival in the LA Chargers. So I will say, I mean, so with us so I have us beating the Chiefs early. I mean the Chargers early in the season. I would love to win this game. It's going to be at Allegiant Stadium. It's going to be interesting to see how the Chargers do this season as well. I mean, the it's going to be they got that same head coach um, from last season. They made the playoffs last year. I mean, overall wasn't a terrible year, but man, the Chargers they're gonna do what they do best, man. They're gonna choke in the first round of the playoffs. I think they choked a 27-0 lead, but I don't know, man. I don't really see us sweeping anybody. And if we do sweep somebody, I think it'll more than likely be the Broncos, just because they've basically been our little brother at this point in the division in the AFC West. So, uh, I mean, as much as I want to say that we're gonna get a big victory right here, I think we're gonna lose this one right here. So. Yo, Raider Alex, I need to send you a patch too. Oh man, yeah, I mean, for sure. Just hit me up on Instagram, and I would love to have a patch from you. That'd be dope. If you don't know what my Instagram is, and also to make sure to follow me on Instagram. I always forget to plug my Instagram, but I do have a Raider Alex related Instagram. It is _ the Raider Alex. Make sure to give me a follow on Instagram as well. But yeah, just tap in with me, man. We'll be good to go. Chokers will always choke. I mean, straight up, man. I don't know what it is with those motherfuckers. I mean, on paper, bro, the Chargers have had a good ass roster for a while now. I mean, they get good players on defense. They got Derwin James. They picked up Kyle Van Noy last season, a guy I wanted to get on this season, get on this team last season. Justin Herbert's a good quarterback as well. I mean, they got a lot of talent on that team. I just don't know what it is for them. I think they're probably just cursed, or whatever the case may be. But I think right here we unfortunately will get a loss against them. Jack Kenna says, I can see the Raiders early in the season, but we all know they always get hot later. I mean, yeah, that is true. I mean, usually the Raiders end up getting hot. Last season, yeah, we started off really slow last season. I think we're 2-7, and after that, we went on a little like a 3-game winning streak, and we thought, man, that we could possibly replicate what we did in 2021 and get super hot at the end of the season, and sneak into the wild card spot. But unfortunately, that just did not happen, which definitely sucked. But early loss. So I assume Jack Hanna thinks that we're going to lose to the Chargers week 4 and beat them later in the season. At least that's what I assume. Let me know if I'm mistaken. But yeah, I got us losing this game right here. If we had the Chokers defense, I think will be way better. I mean, yeah, facts. From a talent standpoint, that's I guess that's really the biggest concern I have for this team moving forward on the defense. I was cool with us moving on from Derek Carr. I was cool with us moving on at the quarterback position. I was cool with us getting cheaper on offense. When it comes to Jimmy G, I mean, Jimmy G, whether you like him or not, I think he's a better fit for the system. And yeah, I mean, you look at his contract; it's pretty team friendly. I mean, we can move on from it in a couple years. It's not a whole lot of money, that you're directly tied to Jimmy G compared to Derek Carr. I mean, at that point, you would have to invest like $40 million at the quarterback position. But I will say, I mean, it's what was I just saying? But anyways, I mean, I think it's gonna be the thing is on defense. I didn't like how I would have liked us to be a little bit more aggressive in free agency period when it comes to defense, because look, I do like a lot of players we ended up drafting in this year's NFL draft on defense. I am very, excited about. I am very intrigued about their skill set and everything like that. But the one thing we have to notice, we have to take into consideration when it comes to defensive players, just young players in general, rookie players, is they typically take a year or two to develop. And even then, I mean, you don't know what you're gonna get with them. So I would have loved for us to been a little bit more aggressive on defense because look, I think the strength on this team is still on offense, and when it comes to a talent standpoint, and I would have liked for us to have been a little bit more aggressive, but at the same time, I will say the offseason is still pretty early. I mean, we still got time to make some moves down the line. Jack Can critiques patches are dope. Hey man, that was yeah, I definitely need to check out those patches, man. Jack Kenneth says Van Noy is still a free agent, and yep, that is true. I mean, probably later in the future, I'm gonna make a video about potential free agents that we can still add to this roster at this point that could help this team. And I mean, definitely Kyle Van Noy is a guy that you should definitely take into consideration. I mean, I don't think he's going to cost too much money. You can get him on a 1-year deal just to see if he fits or not. And at this point, I mean, this linebacker group is very young. I am definitely very concerned about this linebacker core at the moment. And it would not. I would not mind us getting a better, I guess you could say, a veteran presence guy in on the linebacker room. He can also potentially help develop some of our young guys at the linebacker spot, like Luke Masterson, Divine Diablo. Also, we ended up selecting in the 6th round linebacker Amari Burney, who so it's not a guy I would like to see him on this team, to be honest with you. Raider critique: we should get Van Noy. Yep, I completely agree with you, man. I think it's a guy that we should definitely look into. I hope we end up getting him, man. I thought we were gonna at least pursue him last offseason. It did not seem like we did so. Also, another linebacker I really wanted was Drew Tranquil, but unfortunately, he ended up going to the Chiefs. We need linebackers. This is facts. Yes, I can see the loss in LA, win later, overall record 9-8 or 10-7. Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of people, a lot of you guys say 8 or 9, 9-8. That would be cool. Lost the last 2 games in LA. Yep, this is facts, and this I hope we switch that up because I'm gonna try to go to that LA game. As long as those tickets aren't crazy in price, but I hope we can change that up. But let me get back into the schedule real quick. So this game is definitely going to be very important for me. Week 16 on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to play on Christmas Day. So, as a Raiders fan, I definitely want to see us get a victory right here against the arch nemesis. On the road in Christmas, that would be very sweet. But with this being said, I mean, playing at Arrowhead, you're going to be playing on, late December. I mean, very, very likely right now it's going to be a very cold weather game. And that's going to be, just in general, that's going to be a tough game. It's Arrowhead is never a easy place to play at. At the same time, you got all the from a weather standpoint, you'll probably have the elements against your favor as well. And Kansas City is Kansas City, man. That's the top team in the AFC West at this point, or in the NFL in general, right? They just came off the Super Bowl win. But I will say, I mean, I have us losing in Allegiant Stadium against the Chiefs early on, but I think we're gonna win one game against the Chiefs, and it would be a really good victory right here, just because I think, like I said, I think it'll be a much tougher win to win right here compared to beating them at home. And I think the Raiders really, when it comes to this season, I think we have to, moving forward, I think it's really important that we have to, I guess we have to have a statement win from this team. Teams beat really good teams, the NFL Super Bowl contenders, like potentially the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs. We have to have at least 1 or 2 games like this where we win that can really just kind of get us some, how would I say, some confidence and some belief in what Josh McDaniels and this new regime, this new coaching staff has going forward. So I'm gonna say right here, I'm gonna take a bold statement right here. I think the Raiders are going to win right here, and we're going to get a huge road victory for this team. Get tickets right now while it's still low. Honestly, I haven't even checked out the tickets. I definitely need to check that out because, yeah, typically those LA games been super expensive the last few years. So I definitely need to check that out. Jack Kenneth says Raiders had Tranquil but cut him. Did we really? I don't remember that. Well, when was this, man? If that's true, I really liked his skill set. I wish we would have signed him in free agency, but he went to the Queets, so I did not like that. Raider critique says, I hope so, but I'm not that optimistic. Our linebackers will be hurt by then, and I'm afraid Kelsey eats us alive. I mean, good point. I will say, I think Travis Kelsey will cook against us as well. I mean, we don't really have an answer for Travis Kelsey. Let's be quite honest with you. The linebacker core is very weak on this team. I mean, and just in general, I mean, who really can't stop Travis Kelsey? Most linebackers in the league just are not good at covering. Last season, we had Jayon Brown, who we thought could have been a good addition when it comes to coverage at the linebacker spot, but that did not pan out for this team. So, I mean, we'll just have to see. But I really hope, and I'm going to predict that the Raiders will win one game against the Chiefs. We are going to split against the Chiefs. We will not get swept, and I have us right here getting a big victory against the Kansas City Chiefs. So we're getting into the final stretch of the season. At this point, we got 2 games left, and at this point, through 16 weeks, I have this team at 6-9. So, 6-9. If you want to make the playoffs, you're gonna have to win out right here. You're gonna have to, at the very least, I'd say go 8-9 to have any sort of shot to potentially sneak into a wild card spot for the Las Vegas Raiders. So, and we face the Indianapolis Colts on the road. This game, it's a winnable game, but at the same time, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson from the Colts. It's a guy who I know a lot of us Raider Nation, a lot of you guys wanted us to potentially draft Anthony Richardson. I mean, me personally, I wasn't the biggest fan of Anthony Richardson when it comes to us selecting him, especially especially taking him that high. He ended up going number 4 to the Indianapolis Colts. And I think the Colts are very likely going to give him a lot of playing time in his rookie season. I would not be shocked if they just end up starting him for the whole season. And, it's just going to be interesting to see how well he plays going late into the season. I could definitely see him being a guy that's going to struggle early on in the season if he does. But at the same time, if this guy late in the season, if he starts to learn that offense, starts to build a little bit more momentum, confidence, then it's going to be, this guy could potentially be a problem for the Raiders, another mobile quarterback to watch out for. And the Raiders lost against the Colts last season. It was low key. When it comes to last season, I thought that was the most embarrassing loss. That was really the one game where I was like, bro, how did we lose this game? I was very frustrated, especially given the fact that, their interim coach was Jeff Saturday. And I just, I'll forget about that. But with this being said, I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up, as I said. I mean, when it comes to games, I'm kind of 50-50 about. I'm going to lean towards the L just because, like a lot of you guys, I'm not super optimistic about this team. But I think there is some things that we can definitely look forward to in this season, and some things that we need to we need to build on from last season. Last season was very disappointing, year 1 in this new regime. But at the same time, I think there's some, I think it's a process for them. I think they need to figure it out. But they have to along the way show some progress. But right here, I have us losing against the Indianapolis Colts. And with this being said, so basically, at this point, I think the Raiders would be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. I mean, we could also technically be mathematically um, out of the playoffs the against the Colts as well. But I think right here we will be out of the playoffs at this point. I think we'll be 6-10, and I think right here is going to be very, as I said, we play the Broncos week 1, and then we're going to end up playing them in the last week of the season where it's going to be two completely different teams. It's also we really don't know. So I got the Raiders at 6-10 at this point. I don't know what the Broncos. I don't know if they're potentially fighting for a playoff spot. This game for sure. The last game of the season can have playoff implications for this team down the road. But 6-10. I don't think we're going to get swept by the Broncos. I really don't. I think Josh McDaniels, if there's one team he wants to sweep in the AFC West, um, obviously the Chiefs is a team that you really want to sweep. I mean, that'd be a huge statement and overall morale boost for this roster. But I mean, I think this guy wants to beat the Denver Broncos as much as possible. So I think we win this game right here. Jack Kenneth says, on Tranquil was 2 seasons ago under John Gruden, I think. Man, off the top of my head, I mean, if anybody knows in the chat, comment down below. But I don't ever remember this guy being on this team, to be quite honest with you. But I could be wrong on that. Raider Critique says, you're right, Kenna. It was under Paul Fat has Gunther. Was it really? Was it? Damn, I don't remember that. And I mean, I guess that kind of shows you what kind of coaches we had on defense back with Paul Gunther, a guy that was just not very good at his job. And you see him go with the Chargers in that case and perform very well. So yeah, that's wow. I did not know that though. We're gonna need to build a rookie quarterback up and see how our new tight end performs. You talk about this season, like you want to see Aiden O'Connell out there, get some starts and stuff like that. Is that what you mean? And yeah, when it comes to our new tight end, Michael Mayer, I mean, hey, this is a guy I really, really like this pick. Tight end was still a position of need for us. Sure, it might have not been, as high on the board compared to other roster spots on this team. But look, we move on from Darren Waller. We do have the tight end position filled currently. That guy on the 1-year deal. Sure, I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head. The guy that was with the guy that was on the Titans previously, but we have him under a 1-year deal, but at the same time, we don't know what we're going to do with him moving forward. And just in general, man, I think we got the best tight end in the whole draft, early in the 2nd round, which, I was very surprised about. And just in general, man, if you guys haven't done so, I did a film study on him. Check out that video. I think you guys are really going to like this guy on this offense. Not only that, too, I mean, he kind of fits the mold of like a Raiders a tight end, with Dave Casper. I think they're both from Notre Dame as well. I think I just saw too that he's taking the same number 87. So, and most importantly, man, I think Darren Waller is probably a better player overall, especially at this point in time. But I think Michael Mayer is going to be better for this team. The guy can actually run block. He can pass catch as well. So he's going to be better for the Raiders. I got us going 1-1 versus the Broncos, but would love to continue sweeping the Donkeys. No objection there. Yeah, I mean, I hope we sweep them, but eventually they're gonna have to get the win. Raider Critique says, yeah, this year. So okay, so you do want to see Aiden O'Connell out there. Wow. Me personally, I hope we don't see him out there. I'm not a huge fan of Aiden O'Connell. I hope I'm wrong about the guy. I mean, the guy does have good accuracy and all that, but I'd rather have Jimmy G stay healthy. I mean, I think Jimmy G is actually he's a pretty decent quarterback. I mean, especially, the San Francisco 49ers have shown that there's you can win with this guy. The guy was he was one game away from winning the Super Bowl. Now I will say the recipe for success when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo is you got to have a good run game, which and in the Raiders, we had a very good running attack with Josh Jacobs last season. I think I think we're gonna continue that. You need a reliable tight end. Hopefully, we got that in Michael Mayer. And most importantly, you need a good, solid defense, which is something that is it's a big question mark right now. So I hope the Raiders can do that. Dave Casper, yep. Number 87, just like him too. So I like the pickup though. He's a good fit. Yep, he most definitely is, man. I think Josh Jacobs is gonna love Michael Mayer, man. This guy, he's when I talk about run blocking, like, this guy can actually block out there. He can open up holes. The fundamentals on that guy is just great. The speed's not really there, but he's a bigger dude. He's a sure-handed catcher as well. So I really do like that. No, the guys that we dropped it. Wait, no, the guys that we dropped it were better than War. But I could be in the game, Waller, and you played cheap game right here. Not sure exactly what that meant. My bad. But Raider Nation, so that's my prediction when it comes to the 2023 NFL season for our beloved Las Vegas Raiders. So in general, I have us at 7-10 for the season, and technically it is an improvement from last season. I think McDaniels and Ziegler are gonna mention the fact that the Raiders are at least headed in the right direction. I saw a lot of you guys, for anybody that hasn't done so as well, make sure to give me your prediction of the record for the Raiders going into next season. I saw a lot of people say 8-9, which is pretty close to what I got, 9-8, and with this team, I mean, this prediction is under the assumption that our quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is going to stay relatively healthy throughout this whole season, which if the O-line can protect him, we should have a good chance of that. Now, I probably expect Jimmy Garoppolo to maybe miss 2 to 3 games. I hope so. Or at least I hope he doesn't miss any games, right? But if he does, I hope it's not too much. But the thing is, I mean, if he does miss an extended period amount of time, the floor when it comes to this season and this team in general, I think it would be 4-13, which would be a pretty high draft pick. And at that point, I mean, if we're like week 6 into the season, we're 1-5, 2-4, and Jimmy Garoppolo is out for like a month, 2 months out for the season, it could be. At that point, you really got to consider whether or not it'd be a wise decision to just tank. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, the whole tanking issue. And typically I'm not a huge fan of tanking, but at that point too, I mean, I don't know if it would necessarily be tanking, because at that point I would not be confident in Brian Hoyer starting for us at quarterback, or Aiden O'Connell at that point. But and also too, I mean, this draft when it comes to quarterback position is, a lot of people could argue that could be, transcendental, generational talent at the quarterback position in this year's draft. So, I don't know, something to definitely keep into consideration. I can see the floor for this team being like a 3 to 4 win team, a pretty high draft pick at that point. And to me, the ceiling for this team is probably what a lot of you guys had, 8-9 or 9-8, somewhere around there. And look, that could potentially be a wild card spot. The Raiders, I'm pretty sure if we would have gotten 9-8 last season, there was like a really good chance that we would have made the playoffs. So it really just depends. Every year is a little bit different. It's also going to be really important to see how we do against the divisional rivals, against our conference rivals as well. So, that's what I have for this team moving forward. Paul Gaines says Waller the only end the game 6 games. The other guy that we dropped into way better than Waller. Also, okay, so I assume you're talking about Michael Mayer. I do like Michael Mayer for sure. Oh, my bad. And just right before we head out for this video, I just want to briefly touch on this is what I would like to see from the Raiders in the 2023 NFL season. Look, regardless if we make the playoffs or not, the main thing I want to see for this team is I want us to establish an identity for this team, primarily like on offense. I think it's going to be a run first team, but we saw last season when we had a lot of, we got Devontae Adams on this team. We got all this, talent at the wide receiver position. We also got Josh McDaniels, who's supposed to be this offensive guru type of coach. And it felt like, towards the beginning of the season, he really just wanted to pass the ball. He wanted to be more of a finesse type of team, it felt like. And, but I think he saw later into the season that, it just worked a lot better for us when it comes to just running the ball with Josh Jacobs being a more smash mouth football team. So, that's what I want to see, though. I just want to see an identity on offense, both on offense and on defense for this team, which I thought was definitely lacking last season for a good majority of that year. And another thing I want to see is I want to see consistent production on offense. Because, one thing, I think we still got more talent on offense compared to defense. And then also, too, Josh McDaniels, really, he's got all his type of players for his system. He got his type of quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy who's familiar with the system. He got his style of tight end. He also got his style of slot wide receiver and Trey Tucker. So, I want to see this offense do good next season. And another thing I want to see is these rookies develop. We got a lot of young players, especially on defense, develop. I want to see the development of Tyree Wilson. We ended up selecting him with the number 7th overall pick. And, I want to see it. Can he start week 1? A lot of people are thinking he may not start, which, I guess is fine. But at the very bare minimum, I want to see by mid-season Tyree Wilson. At the bare minimum, I want to see him really make an impact on this team moving forward, because, you don't draft a guy that high just to be a rotational player. I'm going to be quite honest with you. And, I'm also excited to see guys like Byron Young, Christopher Smith. There's a lot of players I want to see develop. Also guys like Divine Diablo, Nate Hobbs, Luke Masterson as well. So, that's another thing I want to see. Excuse me. And the last thing I want to see as well from this team is I want to see, I touched on this earlier. I want to see at least 1 or 2 big, statement, I guess you could say upset victories to really help build the confidence of this team, this locker room moving forward. Basically showing that, look, the Raiders, we have what it takes to beat these good teams, but maybe we're just missing a little bit, missing some talent in certain spots on the team. We're getting close, but we're not quite there yet. But these are really the 4 things I want to see from next season moving forward. So, yeah, Raider Nation, those are my thoughts and opinions on the 2023 NFL season. I have us going 7-10. I have us missing the playoffs. Let me know what you guys think down below as well. Raider critique: is Jacobs going to play? That's I'm definitely going to touch into this sometime in the future, but that's another thing that we have to talk about is Josh Jacobs, whether or not he's going to be on the roster next year. I think he's going to play next year. I don't think he's going to get a long-term deal get done in this offseason. I really don't, but I think Jacobs will be here next season. I really do. And I think more than likely he's going to have another big year. Maybe not as effective as last season, but I think he'll be here next year. And I think he's going to be a big part of this offense moving forward. But Raider Nation, I mean, we got 14 people in the chat right now. If you haven't done so, make sure to like the video as well. Anybody that's new to the channel, make sure to subscribe as well. Also, one thing to do as well, make sure to hit that bell notification. That way, you guys get notified every time I post, a video or a live, or when I go live. That way, you don't miss any video. Also, anybody that's watching this on the replay, and anybody in the chat too, I just wanted to just touch bases with you guys real quick on what are you guys what's some type of content you guys like to see the most from this channel. Like what style videos do you guys like? A lot of film study videos? Do you guys want me to go do these live streams a little bit more? Just let me know down below. I would love to get you guys' feedback, because this channel is part of your guys's as well. I wouldn't really have the following I do without the subscribers, the fans. So I want to make content that you guys really appreciate and that you guys value, and yeah, that's what we're trying to do moving forward. But let me know. Let me take this off of the screen. Okay. Clark Arroyo says he likes the film studies. Okay, I'll definitely keep that noted. I've been doing film studies a little bit more frequently, and they do take kind of a while to make, but at the end I will say they are very fun. I have learned a lot about these young guys, and I will say I am from watching all this film study on our young guys, I will say I'm very excited to see the preseason, which is something that I typically never really. Something I typically never really cared about, the preseason. But now that I'm kind of like a little bit invested into these players, I've seen their strengths and weaknesses. I really want to see how they look out there. How our defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham, uses a lot of these guys. And I want to see, whether or not they have the ability to make this roster. So that's something I'm definitely going to enjoy, watching this season, is the preseason. But yeah, Raider Nation, that's basically, all I wanted to get into this video. Before I head out, as I said, make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so. Make sure to like the video as well. And anybody that's watching this video on the replay, as I said, comment down below. I want to get you guys' feedback on what you guys want to see moving forward for this channel. But Raider Nation, with that being said, I'm about to head out. Before I head out, man, I'm just going to let's put this my intro, and with that being said, we'll call this a day, man. Thank you guys, everybody that pulled up to the show, and I hope to see you guys in future live streams as well. But with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Jacobs is on his way. The Raiders are going to win this game.
Let's go.
Then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.